Hello, mighty warriors, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me today, this is a channel where I discuss the Word of God. I share what I've learned in church services and how it blessed me so that you might be blessed by it also. But today, I want to talk about the state of our country, the state of the world, really. And there just seems to be so much confusion in the world. But God is a God of clarity, and He gives us what He expects from us in His Word very clearly. And if you care to pick it up and read it, it can make everything make sense. Okay? So, Deuteronomy is a very important book. In the book of Deuteronomy, God tells Israel what He expects of them. He lists blessings and curses, right? And He tells them that if they do what He asks them to do, if they follow His commands, that He will bless them, right? But if they don't, then they will be subject to curses, okay? America is no different, okay? It does. God is not a regarder of persons. These promises, these rules, these commands are for all of us, regardless of where you're from, regardless of what country you're from, regardless of what race you are, regardless of what nation you are. And if you disobey Him, you can expect the same problems that Israel faced in the Bible, which is why He gave us the book. He wanted to show us through the experiences of His children in Israel so that we could be blessed, right? He allowed them to go through what they went through so that we could look at them and see the example of what not to do and what we should be doing, okay? So I want to talk to you first about Deuteronomy 8. Okay, and I'm going to read from Deuteronomy 8, verses 18 through 20. And it says this: But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is He that giveth thee power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant, which He sware unto thy fathers, as it is this day. And it shall be, if thou do at all forget the Lord thy God, and walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day, that you shall surely perish. As the nations which the Lord destroyeth before your face, so shall ye perish, because ye would not be obedient unto the voice of the Lord your God. I don't know how much more clear a man can be, right? God has very, very plainly laid out for us, as He did for Israel, that if we run after false gods, that if we are disobedient to His commands, that there will be repercussions. As you see in our world, in our country, we are seeing lawlessness in the land. But the lawlessness didn't start there, okay? The lawlessness has been abounding year after year. It's been compounding like your 401k, okay? People are constantly doing evil. They're constantly upping the ante on what wickedness that they can do. I mean, look at what's popular on television today. 30 years ago, it would be unheard of. Now, if you ask people about certain things, they have no idea that what they're watching on television is utter sin, okay? And so we can't really be surprised that we are watching America fall into captivity over and over and over again. And authoritarianism is captivity, okay? Over and over and over again, God tells Israel, if you obey me, I will bless you. If you follow after these false gods, I will curse you. Okay? And over again, Israel falls into captivity. I have a list here of all the times that they fell into captivity. They were in captivity within Egypt. Okay. There were shorter captivities. All right. And you can do a Google search of this. Okay. It tells you all the times that they fell into captivities from powers around them. Okay. So there's the Cushites, the Moabites, the Canaanites, the Midianites, the Ammonites, the Philistines, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, right? God is not a regarder of persons. And these were his people. These were people he had a covenant with. And they fell into captivity because of their wickedness. So if he would allow that for them, what makes you think he won't allow the same things for us? So let me remind you. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, okay? Because this is where he tells you what he expects of you, okay? He says here, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shall be thou in the city, and blessed shall thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of the kine, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shall thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shall thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and flee before thee 7 ways. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thine hand unto. And he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. And so he lists all of the blessings that you can expect if you hearken to his voice, if you obey his commands, if you don't follow after other gods, okay? Other gods can be anything that you put above God. Anything that you give more of your time, your talent, or your resources to above God. So that could be anything. That could be money. If you chase after money more than you chase after God, that's an idol. That could be sports. If you chase after the high of athletics and sports over God, that is an idol. Okay, it could be for girls, it could be beauty and fashion. If you're constantly pursuing fashion and beauty and you're spending all your money and your time and your resources on that, that is an idol. And so many of us women know we spend a lot of time on that. Okay, idolatry is anything that you put before God. Okay, in America, we are a very greedy, narcissistic, self-absorbed culture. Okay, just look on TikTok. Okay, and all it is people glancing at themselves in a mirror for the world to see, adoring themselves, admiring themselves. The things that people used to do as children in the mirror, now people do on TikTok for the world to see. Right? Lovers of themselves. And the Bible talks about this, how people will be lovers of themselves, right? So it is important that you understand that when you get to 18, there is a plethora of curses that come upon Israel, and that he tells you will come upon you, any of us, America, any country, any nation, any people group, if they do not obey him. Okay? And so America has been so blessed for so long. We have embodied a lot of these blessings as a culture that was a predominantly Christian culture that was founded on his word. But as we have grown away from him, as this culture has adopted and accepted and moved away from his word, okay, adopted and accepted wickedness, okay, adopted and accepted behaviors that he has explicitly said in his word are sin, as we move away from his commands and into wickedness, his hand, you can see, is being pulled off of us, right? I mean, literally pulled off of us. Airplanes are falling out of the sky. Now, if you don't know that God keeps, it's him. He manages the affairs of the universe. He manages the affairs of the world, right? And the fact that we have all of these things happening all of a sudden is not a coincidence. He is pulling his hand off of us as a nation because of our running towards wickedness, idolatry, and sin. Okay? And I can't express enough that if we don't start to, as Christians, talk to people who are non-believers and give them some insight. I know that a lot of them have hardened hearts. People have hardened hearts, right? And they don't want to hear it. I get it, right? But we got to plant seeds. We got to plant seeds to let them know that as a whole culture, if our behavior doesn't tighten up, that we will be going straight into captivity just like Israel did. Okay? And Israel was warned. God is so long suffering. He is so kind. He gives so much grace. He warned them over and over and over and over again. He gave them so much time, okay, to get it together. And they never did. And so he kept letting them go into captivity, because it was only when he would let them go into captivity that they would recognize and awaken to what they had done and then hearken to his voice. God will let you go into captivity because it's the only thing that gets your attention. It's the only thing. Suffering gets our attention. Okay? So, I want this to be a warning. I want this to serve as a warning that if you haven't read Deuteronomy, you need to get into it. You need to read it right away, right? And you, as a Christian, if you are the one in your family who has spiritual eyes to see and spiritual ears to hear, be planting those seeds in people, okay? Because the way things are going in this nation, we are headed into captivity, and we are headed there fast. And the only thing that will get us out is when people wake up and they hearken to his voice and they see the suffering and they desperately call on him. But I'm telling you, Israel was, when they were led into captivity, they were there for years, 70 years. Years. Generations of people were in captivity. A lot of times it was their children that came back. I hope this message was a blessing to you. Until next time, be baptized and be blessed.